right, the very last thing that we're going to talk about in section 3.3 is we're going to talk about the range. So another measure of variability is the range of our data set. The range is the distance spanned by the entire data set. So instead of just looking at a small portion or looking at the middle 50%, we're looking at our entire data set. So again, it's going to be found by a simple subtraction. We're going to take our maximum value minus our minimum value. Right. So in example 6, a group of 8 children have the following heights in inches. Right. So find and interpret the following. We can do it using StatCrunch. We can also go through and work through it by hand. Again, using StatCrunch, same thing. We're going to use our summary statistics. We're going to go through and we're going to fill in these data values. However, I'm going to also go through and just kind of talk this one, working through it by hand quick. So we have 8 values here. So to find our median, remember we take those 2 values and we divide it by 2. So we're going to take 53.5 plus 54.0. We get 107.5, which then if we divide it by 2, we get 53.75. So I'm just going to fill in this information down below. All right, for Q1, now we're looking at these first 4 data values here. Again, 4 is an even number, so we're going to take these 2 middle guys and divide it by 2. So we take our 48 plus 53 divided by 2. So for Q1, that's going to give us 50.5. And then for Q3, add the middle 2 guys again, because we have an even number of data values. Divide by 2. 60 plus 62 divided by 2 gives us an even 61.0 for our Q3. Right, now the other thing that we see here is the other information that we're given from StatCrunch. Again, N is our sample size. Right, so we had a sample size of 8. So if we were to pull this up using our summary statistics feature in StatCrunch, we would see this table. I'm not going to fill in our mean and variance and standard deviation because we're focusing on our other values, but they are given to us. I'm just choosing not to include those. Our median is this 53.75. The median that we get from StatCrunch would match up exactly with that value that we have there. Our Q1 is 50.5. Right, so that's another value we can get using StatCrunch. Our Q3 is 61. That's another value we can get from StatCrunch. And then notice that StatCrunch also gives us our minimum, which is 48, our maximum, which is 71, and it actually finds our range for us, which is that 23. Okay? And so these are all values that are given to us when we're using StatCrunch. So we're going to interpret the quartiles for the data set, and then we're going to find and interpret the range for our data set also. All right, so our median, remember, is our 50% mark, right? So 50% of the children are less than or equal to 53.75 inches tall. 50% of the children are greater than or equal to 53.75 inches. Q1, remember, splits 25% below. So 25% are less than or equal to 50.5 inches. That means 75% are above 50.5 inches. And then Q3, remember, is 75%. So 75% are less than 61 inches, 25% or more than 61 inches. Okay, so there's our interpretation of our quartiles. All right, now we're asked to find and interpret the range and interquartile range for our data set. Our range has been found for us, but just for completeness sake, we'll go through and calculate this by hand as well. Remember, our range is equal to our maximum value minus our minimum value, which in our cases are 71 minus 48, which gives us 23, which we do see as this value up here in our table. So the range of all the children's heights is 23 inches. Okay. Then for our interquartile range, remember our interquartile range is Q3 minus Q1. So in our problem, that is 61 minus 50.5, which gives us 10.5 inches. So the range of the middle 50% of the children's heights is 10.5 inches. Okay, so again, the big differences here, the range tells us all. Our interquartile range, again, we're thinking the middle 50%. Right, so both different ways of talking about variability. Again, everything that we're looking at in this section, we're looking at and we're thinking about using our median and our interquartile range, or IQR, especially for skewed data sets.